Good evening, and welcome to Creative Broadcasting, the station of unlimited possibilities, presents Creating Your Seat at the Table with your host, Ashley Little, as she welcomes her guest to the table.
Welcome to Creating Your Seat at the Table. I am your host, Ashley Little. A little bit about myself: corporate professional by day, entrepreneur by night, 5-time best-selling author, CEO and founder of Ashley Little Enterprises, LLC, owner and creator of Creative Broadcasting, and founder and owner of Talk Radio and TV Network, LLC. Tonight we have an amazing special VIP guest by the name of Dr. Kinnettes Thigpen. A little bit about her. Dr. Kinnettes Thigpen, or Dr. K, as many have come to call her, is the founder of Rise Women's Network. Rise Women's Network is designed to help women gain courage, confidence, and clarity so they can fully step into their purpose, show up passionately and purposefully, and do the extraordinary. After experiencing a traumatic event, she was left outwardly healed but inwardly hurting. She found herself questioning her purpose in life while also having her confidence shaken to the core. She made a decision to rewire my mindset, redefine her purpose, rewrite her narrative, and reinvent herself to become radically fierce. Dr. K teaches women to use internal communication processes to recognize and repair their confidence and redefine their purpose. She utilizes the skills that she has learned in her 15-plus years of experience working with hundreds and hundreds of individuals and companies from around the globe as an international psychologist and licensed clinical social worker. As a speaker, she's sought out by companies and conferences to deliver transformational, empowering, and inspiring workshops, breakout sessions, keynotes, and consultations. It has become her desire to help each woman rise to their fullest potential. Next sister up, a woman alone has power. Collectively, we have impact. Welcome to the table, the amazing Dr. Kinette Thigpen.
Hello, Ashley, and thank you so much for having me sit at the table with you tonight. I appreciate it so much.
You are welcome. I'm excited to hear the amazing wisdom and knowledge that I know that you're going to share with the audience tonight. So, Dr. K, tell us more about your entrepreneur journey.
Well, I think I want to say kudos to you for being a phenomenally powerful woman. And you were given a little bit of introduction about yourself, and you said, I believe the word was professional by day and entrepreneur by night. And yes, I would like to also use that tagline because I am a professional by day and I want to stress the word and we'll come back to that to make sure I do, and an entrepreneur by night. And so during the daytime, I am a vice president at a global wellness company where we provide counseling services to people in 200 different countries and territories around the globe. And so that's what I do during the day. And then, of course, the entrepreneurial journey is, of course, I used to have a private practice where I saw individuals for therapy. And then now my newest venture is Rise Women's Network, which is absolutely about really helping women to step fully into their purpose and to just show up passionately, because as women, we are indeed phenomenally powerful. And the whole movement of hashtag Next Sister Up, you will see that on many of my posts and you will hear me talk about it. And Next Sister Up is just saying as women, you can look at another woman and they're not an anomaly. You are the next sister up. There is another sister out there waiting on you, waiting on your gifts, waiting on your talents, waiting for you to serve them. And so it's important that we show up and we show up passionately.
I love that. Show up and show up passionately. It's so important to show up, right? I love that. Yes. So, Dr. K, you are very passionate about helping each woman rise to their fullest potential. So let's talk more about your passion to empower women.
Yes, and so women, we are just, if there's any men listening, I know there was Alan who's helping us produce the show, but to the ladies out there, we are just doing the daggone thing, from politics to entertainment to being in the world and just showing up. We're just doing the daggone thing. And so when it comes to people and women showing up passionately and to their fullest potential, I really like women to understand what their purpose is. And typically I find three types of women. One, you have the women who they know what their purpose is. They're walking in it. They're rocking it out. They're showing up and they're serving. You have another group of women who they think they kind of sort of know what their passion is or their purpose is, but they're not quite sure. And then they wonder why maybe they're not manifesting or, reaping the fruits of their labor. It's because they're not walking in what their true purpose is. And then you have another group of women who they don't know. And just because they don't know, we're not shaming them, we're not judging them, but as women, we're there to support them, to help them through that journey.
Yes, support them and help them through that journey, right? Because we're better together. We are better together.
Absolutely. Like I said, collectively as women, we make a huge impact.
And let's talk about that more, Dr. K. Because I think, collaboration is so important. I know collaboration is so important. And we have to, I think a lot more women embrace that, you will be so much more ahead, right? So let's talk more about why collaboration is so important when trying to build your business and trying to get to that next level.
When I hear the word collaboration, it takes me back to like middle school where we're talking about the sums of the parts are greater than the whole.
Yeah.
And I know that takes us back, but it's so true because working individually and isolated, yes, can you accomplish stuff? Absolutely. But if we put our resources together, we can have a greater impact. And ultimately, I hope as women, as individuals, that's our greater good. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know everything. I don't pretend to know everything. I have a lane. My lane is mental health, confidence, courage, clarity. And so that's the lane I'm going to stay in. But there's other women out there that have different needs. And so I should be able to easily, without hesitation, to say, you know what, Ashley has this need. She does this. I'm going to refer you here. Tisha does this, I'm going to refer you there. April does that, I'm going to refer you there, versus trying to keep it all together. And I think at a young age, although we're taught, it's almost like we're taught competition or to compete against each other. It's like everybody wants to get the trophy. Everybody wants to get the ribbon. Everyone wants to be number one. And so at a very young age, we're taught to compete. And so, but as you get older, you realize it's not about competing. It's really about collaborating.
Yes. All about collaborating, all about lifting each other up. Like you said, there's more impact that is done that way, and just embracing each other and not being intimidated about anybody's success, because we all can win, right? We all can win.
Absolutely. We can all win. Everybody wins.
Right. So, Dr. K, you are the CEO and founder of the Rise Women's Network. Tell us more about your amazing network and how we can support and get involved.
Absolutely. And so I'll talk a little bit about kind of the traumatic event that kind of led me to Rise Women's Network. But it was May 23rd, 2003. It was actually Memorial Day weekend. And in my family, we have a huge celebration for my grandparents who have now gone on to be with glory and glory and glory. But we had a huge celebration. And I remember working my part-time job and rushing down to my grandparents' house. And when I got there, of course, we do this whole weekend celebration thing. You know how it goes. It's like you do the Friday night fish fry, you do the Saturday cookout, you do the Sunday church and the nice Sunday dinner. And so it was that Saturday. And I remember my favorite uncle pulled up, and he had his motorcycle. And when he had his motorcycle, of course, all of us cousins wanted to ride. And so it was my turn, and I hopped on the back of the bike. I put my helmet on. We took off. We were going around town waving and talking to people. And I remember going back by my grandmother's house, and my mother came to the road, and she looked at my uncle, and she said, "You better slow down with my baby on the back of that bike." And then I somewhere got the nerve to say, "Mom, I'm grown. I got this." And we took off again. But this time, something happened. The bike went one way, my uncle went one way, and I went another. And I was rolling, and I was rolling, and I was trying to stop myself, but I kept rolling. And I remember coming to a halt, and I was on my back, and I was looking up, and I said, "I'm about to die." And in my head, I knew if I kept talking, I knew I was still alive. And I remember them rushing me to the emergency room. They took off my clothes. They were running all types of tests. And I had such severe road burn. It had tore through muscles. It tore through tendons. It tore through skin. And when I was finally released from the hospital, I looked like a zombie. I just had so many bandages. And I laid in bed, and to be honest with you, I cried out, God, why me? God, why me? And I'll never forget, my niece came into the room, and before I get there, I was doing that healing process. I wasn't able to walk. My mom had to comb my hair. She had to brush my teeth. She had to bathe me. My dad would carry me from my room to the bathroom, and I had to ring the bell when I was done, and then he would carry me back to the room. And through that healing process, I was shaken. My confidence was shaken. You know, the pictures that maybe you see on social media or the things that I post, I wasn't always that confident person in that moment because my confidence was shaken to the core. And for me, there was some type of confirmation that it was an irrational belief that I allowed to attach to myself when my niece came in the room one day, and she says, Aunt Net, are you going to the mall with us? And I was like, yes, because finally I was going to get out of the house. My mom was going to push me in a wheelchair. She was like, you need to get out. And my niece looked at me, and she looked me up and down, and she looked me up and down, and she said, Aunt Net, I don't want you to go. You look ugly, and no one wants to look at that. So now all these things that I had been thinking about myself, the courage that I had been trying to build up in myself, this 4-year-old girl shatters it in the moment. And you know how they say young people and older people will tell you the exact truth. And so that was a label that I attached to myself. And in those moments, I had to get to the point where I had to, one, find the courage. I had to rebuild my confidence. I had to reinvent myself. I had to rewrite my narrative. So out of that, that's kind of where Rise Women's Network came. And you know what? As a woman, you might say, you know what? I haven't been in a motorcycle accident. I haven't even been in an automobile accident. But one thing I can probably guarantee you, and that I know for sure, is that as a woman, as an individual, there have been the unexpected events, the unexpected things that have happened to you that you did not expect, that have shaken your confidence to the core. And when your confidence is shaken to the core, you have got to get to that point of realizing, where is my courage to even take that first step to even get to my confidence? And then you got to realize and get clear enough to understand, if I know my purpose, I can be in alignment of the people, the places, the situations in my mindset. And so out of all that traumatic event, Rise Women's Network was born, where I wanted women to be able to step fully into their purpose, to show up passionately, to be confident, and to be courageous. Ashley, are you still there?
Which one? Can you hear me now? I don't know why I went out. I just love how you created this amazing movement and network to help our women to reach back and create those spaces, right? And I love the story that you had behind it of why you did it. So
absolutely, thank you.
You for doing that and creating this space for us to be able to work together and, you know, provide resources and tools to help each other rise to the next level. So can you tell our listeners how they can, get involved in the Rise Women's Network and how we can follow and support?
Absolutely. So with Rise Women's Network, we have an academy that kind of teaches people through the different processes, teaching them ICP, internal communication processes. And so they can follow me and reach out to me through through social media, either at Kinnettes Thigpen or at Next Sister Up. So Kinnettes Thigpen or Next Sister Up to learn more about it. And then just to kind of share this little piece with you, something that we'll be launching very, very, very soon is I'm going to start taking on a very few select group of women who are looking to become high achievers. So as a high achievement therapist, really working with women to get to that next level, because oftentimes either we have risen to a particular level, and then we get to the point where we feel stuck of how do I get to that next level. And I often kind of compare it to playing a game. So whether it's that old school Candy Crush or Mario Brothers, or my new favorite game is Woody, you get to a certain level and you keep trying and you keep trying to get to that next level, and you're just stuck. and you need someone to help you not only to work through that, but sometimes even understanding where have you come from, what things that have happened in your life that are affecting you where you're at now and that are potentially leaving you stuck where you're at to help you get to the next level.
I love it. So definitely support and follow Dr. K's Rise Women's Network, because she's definitely somebody to know and connect with. So, Dr. K, what are some strategies you would give to women who are struggling to find their purpose?
Oh, my goodness. The first one I would talk about is cognitive distortions. And cognitive distortions are irrational beliefs. They're ultimately irrational beliefs that we have, but you know what? In the moment, they sound so good. They sound real good, and we start to believe them. And so, there's several different ones, and I'll just kind of share a few here on the call tonight with each other. But some of the things that we have is kind of the all or nothing thinking, where things are black or white. They're either this or either that, when in actuality, there are some things that are gray. And just to kind of go back to the beginning of the conversation where we talked about, profession by day and entrepreneur by night, sometimes we're not taught that things can be both and that they don't have to be or. And so, growing up, oftentimes, we're taught at a young age, you can have the cake or you can have the chips. And so, but why can't we have the cake and the chips? At school, we're going to the lunch line, and it's like you can have the pizza or the fish sticks. Well, what if I want both of them? And so that all or nothing thinking is realizing that it doesn't have to be one or the other, that things in life can be and they can. And so that's one cognitive distortion. Another one is like overgeneralizing, where, one thing happens to us, one single event. So maybe as an entrepreneur, you make that sales call and someone tells you no, dun, 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 you've been rejected. And so now because that one person has told you no, you now generalize that to everything, and you would say, like, no one wants to buy my products or services. No one likes this. I'm going to have to start all over. And so when you start having those irrational beliefs and start believing them and thinking them, they really kind of prevent you from walking, fully into your purpose. And so one thing that you have to do sometimes is you got to first recognize it. You got to become aware of them, because if you were to take just a period of your day, a couple hours of your day, and write down every single cognitive distortion that you are having, and trust me, those are just two that I talked about, but there's many, many of them, like 20 of them, if not more. If you were to really start tracking that, you would realize what damage that you're doing to yourself that's preventing you from moving to that next level, that's preventing you from living to your fullest potential. And so once you track those, now you got to replace that with something positive. And so that's one thing that I definitely teach women when it comes to, walking into their purpose and being absolutely extraordinary. Another thing that I teach individuals is mindfulness. And mindfulness is about being present and being in the moment, and not saying that you're okay where you're at, but understanding that you are at a moment in time for a reason. And sometimes in life, we want to skip some steps. We want to skip the process. We want to get to the end. But what you got to realize is who you're becoming in the process, And so being mindful, and also part of being that mindful is taking care of your mental health. As a therapist, as a psychologist, mental health is super important for me as an individual, and I want others to understand how important mental health is, because 1 in 4 people report having a mental health issue. That's 1 in 4 that's reported. So honestly, for the individuals who are not reporting it, it's definitely a lot more. And when you think about the top 2 mental illnesses that are out there, every time when people hear the word, mental illness, they think about the schizophrenia or the bipolar. But I'm talking about the anxiety and the depression. Anxiety and depression are the top 2 mental health issues that we face. And to be honest with you, entrepreneurs are more likely to have anxiety and depression. And so part of the process is also really being mindful and really talking about mental health as well.
I love that. I love that you broke it down, because that's so important, being able to know what's going on, know those different strategies to help, help yourself heal, right, and find your purpose. So.
Yes. And it's okay. And I think the thing is, as individuals, when you talk about the collaboration and networking and talking, let's not suffer in silence. It's not about, you're an entrepreneur and another entrepreneur can be doing something completely different, but it's having those conversations, because when you start having those conversations, you're like, girl, stop playing. Me too. Girl, get out of here. I did not know you experienced that. But as individuals, we feel like we have to keep that stuff to ourselves and we don't share it. But part of that collaboration and having those conversations and communicating with one another is being able to help each other through those processes.
Yes, being able to help each other, right? Being able to embrace each other and not judge. So,
yes, absolutely.
So, Dr. K, what is some advice you would give to that listener who is inwardly hurting? What are some, and not only that, but what are some steps you took to heal inside and out? Because, sometimes, like, in your bio, you say that you were inwardly hurting, but outside it was fine, right? So what is some advice some strategies you would give to that listener right now that's hurting inside, is trying to heal?
Yep, and and I think that's so important because, after the accident, like you said, as the wounds, the physical wounds started to heal, they heal from the inside out. And as an individual, we also have to heal from the inside out. But oftentimes what we do is we want to put, kind of like putting a Band-Aid over something and acting like it's better. We like to put on that facade that everything is amazing. So, we put the makeup on, we get our hair cut, we get our hair did, we get our nails and we put our cute outfit on, we put our stilettos on, and, and we walk out the door like everything's great. But on the inside, we're still absolutely hurting on the inside. And when you don't do the full work on the inside, when the next event happens, you just realize that you're still just as broken. And so even after this motorcycle accident that I had, where, again, on the outside I was healed, the scars on the outside were healed, life kind of went on. And I remember meeting this man, and girl, when I say I met a man, oh, girl, I met a man. And he was absolutely amazing, or so I thought. But as kind of time went on, you start questioning things, you start seeing things. Some of the things that you thought you were on the same page about kind of started to change, and I ended up going through divorce. And I remember some of those same wounds that I thought were healed, I realized that they truly weren't. So some of those same confidence issues that I was having, some of those same self-esteem issues I was having, some of that questioning of purpose in a life, all those things started to come back. Because, again, outwardly, yes, it appeared I was healed, but inwardly I was not. And so, some of the things that I had to really do is, affirmations really helped me. And I always laugh when I think about affirmations because, again, those positive I am statements like I am bold, I am beautiful, I am brilliant, I am. And I'm going to be honest with you. I stood in the mirror saying I am, and, girl, nothing was happening. I was like, knock, knock, who's there? Like, somebody come and help me. And nothing was happening. And eventually, what I really learned is I had to make it a personal, powerful statement to myself. And I had to talk to myself in third person. And so instead of saying I am, I looked in the mirror and I said, Kinnette, you are bold. Kinnette, you are brilliant. You are courageous. Because there's something, I know as a young age and growing up, we're taught not to talk to ourselves in third person because they're like, girl, she's talking to herself in third person. She's crazy. Like, Kinnette, you are. Like, why is she talking like that? But, there's something in the mind that recognizes when you're talking to yourself in third person that you're more likely to make a transformation. And so oftentimes you will hear athletes before games that they will talk to themselves in third person. If you think about Flavor Flav, as much as we think he's cuckoo, he talks to him about himself in third person. Even on Sesame Street, you have Elmo talks about himself in third person.
Yeah.
The reason why is, Elmo's going to do, think about that. And there's a reason why. It's because when your brain processes differently when you're talking about yourself in third person, and if you break it down a little bit further is, we are more likely to do things for other people or say things to other people and follow through. So I can tell you, girlfriend Ashley, this is really what you need to do. And you're like, okay. So it's kind of like talking to yourself to get yourself to do those things. And so when I started talking to myself in third person, I started to see a change because my brain was being rewired a little bit differently. And then the other thing that I really had to work on doing is visualizing, working on visualization and manifestation of, I had to see it before I saw it, or I knew I would never see it. You got to see it before you see it, or you'll never see it. And so I had to imagine and vision of where I truly want it to be, what I wanted things to truly be like. Although I was broken, although there were those wounds that were there that I wanted to be inwardly and both outwardly healed, I had to see that. What did I want life like? What did I want my health to be like? What did I want my wealth to be like? What did I want my new relationship to be like? What did I want my family to be like? And so it was manifesting all of those things. And again, in addition to, working on those cognitive distortions, because, yes, I would say I would have negative self-talk. I would have those cognitive distortions. And so there were things that I had to become aware of and work on changing those processes of the things that I said to myself, but also the things that I thought to myself. Because, when it comes to those negative thoughts, your thoughts drive your behaviors, and your behavior drives your results in life. And so if I was thinking something, I was going to behave accordingly, and therefore I was going to get those results. And so whether they're negative or positive, you're going to get that result. And oftentimes in life, when it comes to changing that pattern, what people do is they change the behavior to get a different result. And when people change a behavior to get a different result, will it work? Absolutely. Is it sustainable? Absolutely not. And so until you truly change your thought, that's when you're going to see a true change in your behaviors and a sustainable result to live on.
Absolutely. Change that mindset, right? That mindset
yes.
is so important. And thank you
Absolutely.
for shining light on it. You just broke it down so amazing. So for all our listeners that are
you're getting me started.
Right. For our listeners that are listening, I know you're getting some amazing nuggets from Dr. K tonight. So make sure you're jotting them down. So let's talk more about, because I know you talk a lot about reinventing yourself, and it's so important for all of us, I don't care what age you are, to continue to reinvent yourself. So why is it important to always look for ways to reinvent yourself?
I think the biggest thing, and it for me, it ties back to confidence, which is a huge piece of Rise Women's Network, and there are so many things that rob us of our confidence. And so when we allow those things to rob us of our confidence, in order to get back on track, you have to reinvent yourself. And so some of the things that, rob us of our confidence is rejection. And so, whether it's in business, like I was saying earlier, where, you don't get the sale, or you're not reaching your target goals, or someone tells you no, or maybe it's in life and relationships or career where you don't get the promotion, or the man of your dreams, you end up getting a divorce or walks out on you. That's rejection, and we allow the rejection to define who we are, and that's not the reality of who we are. And so, that's something that robs us of our confidence. Then we also have labels, where we either give ourselves labels and we attach them to ourselves and accept them, or we allow other people to give us labels, we accept them, and we attach them to ourselves. And those labels don't do any good for us. And so oftentimes it's like, I'm just a teacher. I'm just a bank teller. I'm fat. I'm not good enough. So all those labels that we say in our lives, they're robbing us of our confidence. Even showing up and being mediocre. And the sad part about it is most of us, our mediocre is still better than someone's average. That's just the reality of it. But we continue to show up being mediocre. So if you're showing up and being mediocre and doing good, think about if you were really putting forth effort, balls to the wall, playing full out, showing up, what results you would get. And so when we do all of these things, not to mention, when we start procrastinating, procrastination is huge. And we tell ourselves this lie of, with procrastination, I'm having a time management issue. Girlfriend, stop lying. It's not a time management issue. It's an emotional control issue where you don't want to do something because you're afraid of being rejected, you're afraid of failure, you're afraid of, and you're fearful. And so now you're delaying the inevitable because you don't have the emotional control. And so all of these things end up robbing you of your confidence, but ultimately you have got to gain that confidence back so that you can truly reinvent yourself. And the things that rob us of our confidence, they happen to us every day. But think about it. People don't walk around and say, oh, Ashley, I'm having confidence issues today. Oh, Ashley, I'm having courage issues today. We don't walk around and say that. But when you look at people, when you know people, it shows up in so many different areas of their life. So whether it's the way they walk into a room, the way they hold their head up, the way they look at you or don't look at you, the way they sit in their chair, the way they dress, it all relates back to confidence. And so whether you want to admit it or not, it's there. And I've seen hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women and individuals. And they don't call me on the phone and say, oh, Dr. K, I would love to come talk to you because I'm having issues with my confidence. They either tell me they don't know what's going on or they tell me a completely different reason. But after talking and getting down to the root cause, what we find out is that there's an unexpected event, much like the motorcycle accident or other unexpected events that have happened in your life that has shaken you to the core. And until you address that issue, you cannot reinvent yourself. So, again, it's really about being aware of those things that are robbing you of your confidence so that you can indeed reinvent yourself.
Okay, like if you're not getting nuggets tonight, then you're not listening. Dr. K, amazing. I love how you are breaking this down because it's so important because reinventing ourselves, I think sometimes people think you have to be at a certain level. No, you always should be reinventing yourself, right? Because things are always changing. These are always changing.
Yes, it's just like, it's like the iPhone. Where are my iPhone users at versus my Ashley? Are you an Android or iPhone?
I am iPhone.
Woohoo! Okay, you're my girl. High five. But even if you think about iPhone, they're always reinventing themselves. Think about how many times you wake up and it's like update, time to reinstall your update. It's iPhone 2.0, 3, the 8, the 9, the 10, and 11. They're always reinventing yourself because you can always improve. I remember at a young age, my mom said, when you stop growing, that's when you wither away and die. And I'm not ready to go there yet, so I want to continue to stay green. So I want to continue to learn. I want to continue to reinvent myself because there's always a better version of Dr. K.
Yes, there's always a better version, so I love that. Thank you, Dr. K, for shining light on that area. So I asked all of my guests this question, and Dr. K, you have built multiple tables for yourself. How did you create your seat at the table?
That's a really, really great question. So the first time I created my seat at the table, I will never forget. I've been in the mental health field for over 15 years, and I remember going to school, getting my master's degree. I was working for a mental health company, and I was doing an amazing job, Ashley. I was doing a daggone thing. I was working with families. I was working with children. We were setting goals. We were reaching them. We were discharging them. And I was like, oh, yeah. And so I remember I was like, I'm going to go and talk to the president of the company, and I'm going to explain to her that all the reasons why I deserve a raise. And so, I practiced in the mirror the night before. I called my girlfriends and was like, girl, how does this sound? They're like, ooh, girl, it sounds real good. She's going to say yes. And I was like, yes, got it. So went in there that next morning, had a conversation, and I'll never forget, she looked at me and she said, Kinnette, thank you for all that you do. However, I'm not going to give you a raise. And so in the moment, I had learned to have a poker face, which I still do today. But I learned to have a poker face, and I was like, okay, no problem. And I walked out. But let me tell you, when I say I was mad as hell, I was mad as hell. I was on fire. And so when I walked out of her office, one, I had to self-reflect of why I didn't receive a raise. Now, of course, I was still very mad, and I was like, I don't know. I really don't know because I think I'm doing absolutely amazing. Then I said, well, maybe I wasn't as clear. Maybe I didn't provide as much clarity as I had hoped to provide to her to get her to understand or to see why I needed a raise. And then I sat and I thought a little bit more. And I said, the same thing I'm doing for this company, I can do for myself.
For myself. Mm-hmm.
And so, unfortunately, in my situation, it's kind of like you have to get mad as hell in order to say I'm going to do something different. And I said, I can do this, And, of course, when you do different things in life, you self-reflect of, there's certain things that I absolutely love and there's certain things that I would do a little bit differently. And so I said, I'm going to set out to do this myself. And at the company, it wasn't the owner of the company, but it was the executive director of the agency. She was one of those individuals who she really poured into me. And I remember when I walked in the doors to apply there, she said, the person who's going to interview you, she said she actually will be back in 30 minutes. And she said, if you can come back in 30 minutes, she said she could probably interview you on the spot. And then she said, young lady, you have something very special about you. She said, you will be in leadership for the rest of your life. And I really wasn't, sure what she meant by that, but I went back in 30 minutes. I interviewed. I got the job on the spot, and within 6 months, I was promoted to a director, and I have always been in leadership or in entrepreneurship since then. And the lady there, my mentor there, her pouring into me and letting me know that there was more to it. And so along that journey, when I talked to her and said, this is what I really want to do, she showed me the ropes. She showed me what I needed to do. She told me the pitfalls that I needed to be mindful of. So after I got mad, I set out a game plan. I set targets. I got a mentor, because if somebody else has gone before you, who has paved the way before, who has a blueprint, who they can share it with you, those are the people that we need to get surrounded by. And I'll be honest with you, at, one point in my life, you think you can do things on your own. Kind of like I said before, like, okay, I don't need any help. I know how to do this on my own. I'll figure it out. I'll go to my best friend Google and I'll figure it out. And, but at some point in your life, you can only get so far by yourself. I promise you that. I know that for sure. And I knew that if I wanted to play at another level, I knew if I wanted to do something different that I had to get a mentor. I knew I had to surround myself by people who knew more than I knew, who had done the things that I wanted to do. And so creating my seat at the table was, again, I got really mad and decided that I could do this. But along that journey, it was going through that process. Again, oftentimes we want to skip certain phases of the process. We want to go to A to Z, not realizing that there's a whole lot of other letters in between there that we need to go through that process, because going through that process is how you become who you are. And, when it seems really hard, that's when it's going to be real good. It's going to be a really sweet victory when things are really hard for you. And so, again, it was having that mad moment, deciding what I wanted to do, putting a game plan in place, and really surrounding myself with people who knew more than I knew.
I love it, and that's so important, surrounding yourself with people who know more than you, right? People who are where you want to be, for all of our listeners that are listening, right? It's so important when you're looking for that mentor and that coach, that they are where you want to be, because if they're not, they can't mentor or coach you. At least I don't think so.
Amen, sister. You said a mouthful there.
Yes. And Dr. K, you have talked about your journey so powerful tonight with stories and just really giving us an inside look at your journey. So what did failure teach you on your journey?
Failure taught me to get up and do it again. And, get up and do it again, but, some people call it failure, and some people just call it learning moments and teaching moments. And that's really what I see them as, because, honey, trust me, I have learned a lot of lessons where, some people would see it as failure, and some people would say, you know what, I quit, I tap out, I'm pressing the button, the easy button. I want the easy button, the easy way out. But again, those moments are the moments that I have learned the greatest things from, because when you get to that point where you make a mistake, you've done something that you didn't get the result that you thought you were going to get, those are the moments that teach you. Those are the moments that I promise you, that you will never forget. But I think it's all essential to it's part of the process. In life, in the entrepreneurial journey, those failures, those moments where, you don't get the results that you want. I remember I was talking not too long ago at a conference, and I said it's not a right and a wrong, it's a right and a right, because you don't intentionally make a wrong decision. You made the best decision that you had, the information that you had at that moment. And based on that decision that you made, whether it was the one that you were hoping for or the one that you learned from, you still learn something from it. So either you learn, or it's right and it's right, and you learn something from it. And so I think instead of seeing things as failures, and again, I think those are the things that we're taught as a young age of, you're failing, you're either good or you're bad, you either did it right or you did it wrong. Well, it's another way that didn't work, or I learned a very valuable lesson from that failure. And so, again, it's about that mindset of how you view things in life, because, again, sometimes those things may happen to people, and it could be a cognitive distortion, which we talked about earlier, where now you think that you're never going to make it, you're never going to be on the path that you want to, but in actuality, that's just one simple moment in time.
That's true. One simple moment in time. I love how you put that. It's just one simple moment in time. It's a lesson, right? It's a lesson.
It's a lesson.
Yes. So you're very, very successful. So what did success teach you on your journey?
I think the same thing. There's, with success, success can look very differently for people. And I'm actually finishing up a book that will come out soon, and it's called Scared Shitless to Success. And it's about the journey of success. And, again, success is about those lessons that you learn. Because, again, there's so many different things that I've learned on the journey to success. And success isn't a destination to me. Success is a journey. It continues to go on and on and on. And I'm definitely an individual who I always set goals for myself. It's not like I, set 2 goals and say, okay, I accomplished it, now I'm done, I'm going to sit back and relax. No, it's like, now what's next? And I think the book, The 12-Week Year, is something that has really helped me to be successful, in that, instead of waiting to the end of the year to say, oh, crap, I didn't succeed on all the things that I wanted to, every 3 months is a year. So, I'm midway of my year already with being in February. And so there's several things I need to finish and accomplish. But, again, I think success also teaches you a lot of lessons in life that teaches you those life lessons.
Yes, it does. It does teach the life lesson. It teaches us to stay humble, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure.
Yes. So we're in a new year and a new decade, right? And I know you and Shay Brown and a couple more people are talking about January 1st, right? January 1st. Today is my January 1st. So what can we expect from you in the year of 2020?
Oh, my goodness, 2020. I'm so excited about 2020. I'm just so grateful for all that has been accomplished and all that's going to be accomplished. I think the biggest thing is, of course, I'm an author, and my book that's currently out is called Rated Black, A Parent's Guide to Dealing with Police. And so that's one project that is out, but the second piece to that project is going to be an anthology, and it's going to be called Rated Black, Destined to Succeed. And so that's one project that will be coming out very soon. Likewise, I was saying that the book Scared Shitless to Success, that book will be coming out, which talks about the journey of success. And then also I will be accepting a very select few women to be a part of a high achieving therapy group that we'll be having. And so those are probably the 3 biggest things that will be coming very soon in 2020.
I love it. Well, congratulations on all the great things. I know you're going to birth this year in this new year and new decade, Dr. K, and I can't wait to see all the great things that you're going to do.
Thank you, Ashley. You're amazing.
Yes, you are as well. And I just want to thank you again for taking the time out of your very, very busy schedule to come to the table tonight. This has been an amazing interview. I know our listeners have learned a lot tonight, and I cannot wait to invite you back.
All right. Well, thanks for letting me have a seat at the table, and I cannot wait to chat with you again soon, Ashley.
Awesome, and I look forward to working with you and collaborating with you in this new year.
Absolutely. Cheers.
All right, cheers. Thank you. So I would like to give a special thanks. You're welcome. So I would like to give a special thanks to my intern, Sarah, from Tennessee State University, and my intern, Vontaria, from Winston-Salem State University. You all may follow me on Facebook at Ashley Little and on Instagram at _Ashley A. Little. Thank you.
Thank Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Creating Your Seat at the Table, where Ashley speaks with corporate professionals, celebrities, entrepreneurs, authors, and speakers who are transitioning or have transitioned to entrepreneurship.